Hi, everybody. Welcome to the madness of the Christmas season. Please welcome my guest very warmly, Hogarth, from the great Isle of England. And
Yes.
as we get ready to celebrate what I call the silly season, everybody gets silly at this time of year and they go crazy. And having everything go into Mercury retrograde doesn't help.
Yes, which is happening right now. And thank
We
you,
were
Shari.
having tech problems. I had to go. We changed cell phone carriers, my son and I, so he could get a new phone, a new iPhone, no less. And we were supposed to be able to keep our numbers. It didn't work. We couldn't. We had to get issued new phone numbers today.
Oh.
We got all the stuff and went to activate. It was literally an all-day process with phone calls back and forth and back and forth. It was like, after about 2 hours of it, I finally handed him everything and said, I can't deal with this. You talk to them.
Bless. Yeah, it's a classic. First of all, thank you, Shari, so much for having me on the show, hosting. That's at least it stops my brain being fried a little bit for a while. I've been having technical things because, of course, Mercury retrograde, everyone, and this is the time when your computers want to update their new software and all that stuff. So I had to reinstall a few things, this, that, and the other. I missed an appointment today because I was so obsessed with this new illustration that I've completed. So
well, I've got a screensaver up behind me because my bed and everything behind me is gift wrap central, and so it's like just boxes and crap everywhere, and it's like, okay, I can't have people looking at that.
But such is life. But thanks so much for having me, and this has
Well,
been a
thank
long
you
time
for
coming.
coming
And
on.
we've
It has
finally
been. We've been working on it for a little over a year. So
yes.
First time I saw you, Diane had you on her
Oh
channel, and
wow!
she kind of introduced you, and I was like, I like him, and so I've been watching you ever since. And
Thank you.
and
Thanks so much for the support.
I just didn't have the nerve to invite you to come on. I was like, that was a lot of people that I started out watching, and it's weird because some of them I've become friends with, that I talk to on a regular basis. But it was getting that bit of nerve up to email somebody and say, I'm a big fan of yours, but would you consider coming on my channel? I'm just getting started.
Oh, bless.
The first time Linda G came on, I was beside myself. I thought I was going to pass out from hyperventilating.
Well, she's fabulous, and she's so generous as well. And I just want to say as well, a shout out to Mel, because like you guys know, I'm so as you know, I do a lot of consultations. They do take a lot of time, minimum hours, sometimes 2 hours or 2 hours and a half, depending on what consultation my clients have. And I've written a book and I'm doing illustrations for it, plus everything else. So sometimes I miss some emails, and I was invited to be part of Mel's 20,000 party. So I just want to say, Mel, if you're watching, apologies. I know you're going to be on with Shari.
Yeah,
I'll see
you in just a couple of hours. So
exactly. So we'll do a collab. Or
exactly. There were several people that he wanted to be there that couldn't make it because they either had family, events going on, or they already had something scheduled and it just clashed and they couldn't make it, or they just missed the email. I had several people that emailed me after the fact and said, oh my God, I missed the email. I'm so sorry. I'm like, hey, it happens, so
yeah, there'll be another time.
I know Mel called me up when he hit 20K. He says, okay, you're the psychic party girl, so you're gonna do my party. And I said, you bet, no problem. I love to throw a good party. So I like being able to pull different people into, especially with the readers, to kind of get to see each other for the first time, that they may have heard of each other, they may have seen one of their shows, but they've never actually met, or anything. So that's exciting for me to be able to introduce people around. And so
brilliant.
Hogarth does Vedic astrology, which I know zilch about. So I'm sure some of you may know what it is, some of you may not. So I'm going to kindly ask him to give a little short explanation of why it is, what it is, how is it different from what we know in America as astrology. And then we'll go from there and we'll see what happens next. So take it away, Hope.
Okay, no small task then, folks. I only have to describe, what is an ancient philosophy that's over at least 5,000 years old, filled with all sorts of mythology, legends, gods, goddesses, nakshatras, star clusters, and all that kind of stuff. And I boil it down into a quick presentation. Well, first of all, thanks for being generous to allow me to explain, because of course Vedic astrology, as many of you who maybe have watched my channel or other Vedic astrologers will realize that it is a very complex system. Right. So my quick analogy, what I say to all of my clients, particularly if they're new with me, I always say Western tropical astrology is like classical music. We all know the tunes, yeah? Right. Vedic astrology is like jazz, yeah? It's like jazz. It's very syncopated. There's lots of other different things to consider. However, once you've mastered it and learned it, it's a bit like minimalism. So now when I look at a chart, it is like reading a piece of music, but I have my own techniques that I've developed, which I call 4-dimensional astrology. But essentially, what's the difference? There is a phenomena in physics, so this is bona fide science, which is called the precession of the equinoxes. And what that is, that's the term physics uses to describe the movement of the stars relative to us here on Earth. And they're all moving backwards. Now, what will actually help is that I actually have a diagram that I illustrated that's going to be in the book, which can actually really help you guys understand it a lot. It might not be that easy to see, but here do you see the constellations here? So this is Leo, yeah, Cancer, etc. If I zoom out a little bit, you see how I've got the arrows going backwards. Now remember, the camera is also backwards, so it's hard for me to gesture. But this is the Earth here. This is where we are right now, down here. And this is also describing the cycles of time. Too long to describe, but it deals with human consciousness. The point is, though, when the stars, the constellations, kind of like with my projector up here, they're moving backwards. And it's the stars that actually give the star signs their flavor. So Vedic astrology, because the stars move backwards and it follows the movement of the stars, Vedic astrology is 24 degrees backwards from where we call the stars in the West. Yeah, because the Western astrology.
I knew there was a time shift there, but I wasn't sure how it works. So yeah.
Yes. So it's literally to do with the mapping of the skies. So if we think of a sign, for example, and houses, there are 12 houses, yeah, and 12 signs of the zodiac. So, but the constellations, so each house is a 30-degree portion of sky. So the stars have moved backwards by almost 24 degrees out of 30 degrees. Yeah. So that means everyone in Vedic astrology moves backwards by almost a whole sign. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Right. So what is, the stars have energy. Light contains information. And the way the ancients used, the words they use is Shakti. Shakti. And Shakti literally is that it's the starlight that codes in a way the kind of the etheric body of each human soul. This is why astrology works. Yeah. One of the main reasons why people in the West don't believe in astrology is because the Shakti, the star energy that gives them so many of their personality traits, is in a different place versus the Western. Gotcha. So to give you an example, so what did you say? Did you say that you were Aries?
I'm a Gemini. Sun? Yeah, June 3rd. I'm a Gemini sun, an Aquarius moon, and an Aries rising.
Okay, so like for example, you're in a way, think of how this will make sense. So you're an Aries rising in Western, yeah?
Right.
Now, tell me, what is Aries associated with?
That's fire, isn't it? Aries is fire sign.
It's fire. But also as well, what is Aries? Aries is aggression. Aries is conflict. Aries deals with fighting. Aries deals with sport. Aries deals with going out in the world and achieving and pioneering. Now, I'm not saying that you're not those things. However, when you think of Pisces, it's very spiritual, has a lot to do with tarot. This kind of stuff has a lot to do with woo-woo. Yeah. So
yeah, I'm far more like a Pisces than I am an Aries, because when I was first told an Aries rising, and I was like, well, that doesn't sound like me at all.
Right. Because when we actually take in the precession of the equinoxes, the truth is your rising sign, once you take off 24 degrees, it is highly likely that you are a Pisces. Which would make absolute sense, wouldn't it? Look at what you do.
Yeah.
This stuff, tarot, astrology, crystals, healing, animals. Look how many of our audience are animal lovers. This is all
I've got 3 animals in the house.
Right.
2 dogs and a cat.
Right. Now, because I read so many charts, I would bet very good money that your rising sign is probably truly Pisces. And if I were to read your chart, it would fit you. Yeah. Because already you said, well, I've never really felt that I was an Aries. This is why a lot of people don't believe in astrology today, is because the Shakti is being read from 24 degrees ahead. Not that Western tropical doesn't work, and I don't want to be people think I'm down on Western astrology, but what you've just said has given a very simple and clear example.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Gemini I always connected with, because I've always felt like 2 people in one, just my personality. My late husband was a Gemini in Western astrology. We used to laugh, say between the 2 of us, we had 4 people living together. And that's what it felt like most of the time. But with some of the other stuff, it's like it just didn't fit. And I don't really understand it enough. I tried to learn some astrology decades ago, but it requires mathematics, and that's just not my thing. My brother's the math teacher. I'm not, so he would probably be able to do this kind of stuff without thinking twice about it. But because he majored in math in college and now he teaches it. But not me. I've always been on the woo-woo side, and I mean, I knew I had abilities such a child. I just didn't know what to do with it, and so I ignored it. And then when the pandemic hit, it came roaring back to life, and suddenly I found this community, and next thing I knew, I had people sending me cards and saying, you're psychic, right? You're a reader, right? It's like, I don't know anything about this stuff. So right. I'm still on a very sharp learning curve.
Yeah.
But I love it. I love every minute of it.
Absolutely. And I can tell, because I read so many charts, so many clients and stuff like that. I can pretty much tell, talking with them and things they mention from their life, what their ascendant is truly. Everything you've described, everything that you're doing here on this channel, all of us sharing and using our psychic, like Pisces is one of the most psychic signs, but all the water signs are psychic. So anyone that is Pisces rising, which is what you probably are, Scorpio rising, which is another one that many psychics are, and the other classic, of course, which is my rising sign in Vedic, is Cancer rising. The water signs are the most psychic, intuitive, and healing of all the signs. And let me tell you, the vast majority of people out there doing this stuff will have key placements in either water signs or the sign Leo, or or Cancer as well. Very, very much that way.
It's funny to say that, because earlier when I got dressed and I walked outside, because it was like I finally was like, okay, I have to get ready for 2 shows tonight. I was like, I can't deal with these people. You deal with them. I shoved everything in my son, and I went outside. I said, okay, do I look okay? I said, because I still feel like I'm coming apart at the seams. He says, no. He says, I love your blouse. He says, it looks very like water flowing. And I went, okay. He says, well, maybe not. He said, maybe it's something else. But he said, to me, it looks like water flowing. I said, okay, I'll take it.
It does.
So yeah. Hi, Deanne. Deanne's in the house. And,
hey. Oh, Deanne's in the house. Hello, Deanne.
Deanne's in the house. She's lurking. She's in there somewhere. She popped in and said, hey. Said, I'm listening. And
Foggy was saying I'm a woo-woo magnet.
And I got into this, and in the beginning I was like, I don't know if this is really for me, but the minute I sat down with a deck of cards, it was like, this is what I'm supposed to do. It just clicked. And I'm slowly, learning the differences in reading and whatnot. I prefer oracles. I just feel more drawn to them than I do tarot, but I like both. And I enjoy just being able to help people. I think that's the biggest thing, is that if I can give somebody comfort in some kind of way, then I've accomplished something. And so, and of course, my kids at school, I work at a university. Several of my student workers, they get the biggest kick out of the fact that Miss Shari has a YouTube channel. And they keep up with it. One of my students, she's like, every week she comes in and reports to me how many subscribers do I have and how many people were on this weekend show. And I'm like, I don't even look at that stuff. And she's like, that's okay, I do. And she lets me know what it is. But
what I'll do is I'll before we maybe move on to another topic or something, if you wish, I will just read for you. And this is to give you guys the concept of Nakshatras. What are Nakshatras? Nakshatras are star clusters, asterisms, in Vedic astrology. Every star sign effectively has 3 different energies in it. So here we are. Like this is like here. So this is my raggedy one covered in notes. If we look here, just to describe, look, you see here are the signs of the zodiac, and I call these the 12 pizza slices. Aries, you see, Taurus, Gemini. Down here, these are the nakshatras, and I refer to them as the pizza fingers, and each one has its own sub-ruling planets. And then down here, each section has another 4 sections called padas, and I call those the fingernails. So what does that mean? What it means is, out of the 12 signs of the zodiac, there are smaller portions, those nakshatras, which have an evolutionary energy. Each one builds on the one before. And they have their own planets, their own deities, and their own mythologies each. So you can imagine, and there's 27 of them, and they're called the lunar mansions. The moon spends 1 day in each one. But to illustrate you what Pisces is like, many of my clients will have planets in Pisces, but in Revati nakshatra in particular, which is the last one, it's the 27th. Now I'm going to read this out, and I'm pretty certain many in the chat or who are watching this afterwards or use or have psychic gifts or are interested in animals and welfare will recognize this. Now, this is off my Sam Jeppy notes. He's someone that I studied Vedic astrology along with many others. So here we are. Here's the notes. Yeah, I'm going to read it. So Revati is known as the wealthy or the rich one, but what I found it to mean is generosity of spirit. Pisces is ruled by the generous planet Jupiter, yeah, in old money, and Neptune. Anyway, so Revati shows the gentle and devoted nature of Pisces, as well as its love of animals and all helpless creatures. Sound familiar?
Oh, yeah.
Right. Now, the deity associated with this nakshatra is called Pushan. The degrees of this nakshatra go from 16 degrees 40 minutes to 29 degrees 59 minutes. It's the last one before Aries. The planetary ruler is Mercury. The symbol is the drum, the mridanga, or the fish. So this is the Christ portion of sky. Many of you watching, many of you who are tarot readers will have planets in this Christ portion of sky. It is very, very empathic, healing, has a lot to do with animals. Look how many of our viewers are animal lovers. Many of you guys watching will have planets in this nakshatra or in Pisces. Anyway, the nature of it is soft and tender. The ethnicity of it, they even have ethnicities, is Deva, which means angelic. And the animal associated with this nakshatra is the elephant. So here, I'm just going to read off one little bit and then we'll move on because I just feel like so many people will recognize this. So in practice, this is the practical part. Revati is the nakshatra that exists at the very end of the zodiac. As such, it is analogous to the soul completing its journey around the zodiac, weary and full of life's lessons. So to be a Piscean person means to know the journey of life. Makes sense? Yeah.
Right. Okay. It does make sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So here, I'll carry on. At this point, the gentle shepherd Pushan guides the soul home. So you know how you were saying that you would like to give people comfort? Yeah. Look after people, have them feel comfort. That would be the energy of Pushan that is working through you, yeah, via the Shakti that would have programmed many of the layers of your soul. Do you see? Along with your karmas and past lives and stuff like that. Yeah. So now you'll recognize some of this. Now, every nakshatra also has its Achilles heel. I'll read out this stuff. I'm sure you'll recognize this too. So this is the part of Pisces that can be totally self-sacrificial, at times to the detriment of oneself or a situation that may demand greater individual autonomy. So have there been times in your life where you may have had maybe boundary issues, or maybe where work and trying to balance things out, maybe you've had too much on your plate, things like that?
Oh, it seems like I always have too much on my plate. My desk at work is like piles of papers. I get halfway down, somebody adds another pile. It's like, oh my God, it's never ending. But yeah.
Right. Because what is, you can imagine, this stuff, it may sound abstract, but I have read so many charts now, I know it to be true. I'm almost 100% certain that your ascendant is Pisces. Yeah. Because the energy is always similar. Yeah, it's always similar. So what is the Pisces people, because they're very gentle and they're very yielding and they want everyone to be happy, sometimes though, people do take advantage of that kindness. Yeah. So very often my Pisces
get along. I don't like conflict at all. It makes me physically ill. I want everybody, I'm like the middleman. I'm always the negotiator, it seems like. So, yeah.
Right. And just like you said you don't like conflict. Now imagine if you were an Aries rising, they don't mind conflict at all. So if we think of someone like, and I'm not comparing you to this person, but to give you an example, Marjorie Taylor Greene has her Venus in Aries, which is what? The sign of war, aggression, conflict. Is she afraid of conflict and blowing things up and carrying on with all of her cray? Right, that's Aries, yeah?
Yeah, she's first in line.
Right, yeah, absolutely, because the whole point of Aries is to be what? First. It's the first sign of the zodiac. Pisces is last. Pisces people put everyone else first. Makes sense, no?
Now, what about somebody born in February, like the February 3rd? They would not be February an Aquarian. 3rd, they would be.
Because I always forget my dates. Look, I have to go to this big old book here because in Vedic astrology happens in the middle of the month. So here we are. I've got my thing about. What did you say? February 3rd?
February 3rd. What sign would that be?
Right. So that person would actually come under Capricorn, yeah, which goes from the 16th of January to the 17th of February. Isn't that interesting? Yeah.
That's
so there would actually be a Capricorn sun sign. Yeah. Capricorn sun sign.
Yeah.
So, and I'll just read this last little bit here. And I'll just read this last little bit here, just to kind of wrap it up, and then we can do something else. There can be some extreme boundary issues and sometimes unrealistic or fantasy projections in this nakshatra as well. But all things considered, it may be the most gentle and selfless of them all. Ding, 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 ding.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure many of you watching will recognize that either in yourself or other people. So worth checking out those Vedic dates, huh?
Yeah, definitely. We're gonna have to talk.
Yes.
Work on something in the future here. Yeah, because I mean, you grow up with one thing and that's all you know. And so you find yourself adapting to what that structure says you're supposed to be like. But I know a lot of times in my life it didn't feel right. You know, it just didn't seem to fit me in the way I feel about things. So yeah, that's very interesting. Man, we've got 181 in chat. Wow, that's a lot for me. I know you're used to a lot more, but y'all be sure you hit the like, subscribe, and share buttons. If you've not been to Hogarth's channel, it's well worth going. All of his contact information is in the description box below. You can click the link and it'll take you right there. And while you're there, do the same for me. I won't argue with that. And so is there anything in particular you want to continue covering in astrology, or do you want to go on and let's maybe pull a couple of questions?
Yeah, I think we should pull a couple of cards, because even that, what I've said, I mean, that is quite a lot. You know what I mean, to get one's head around, because we've all grown up in Western astrology, and as you know, I mean, I've been studying this since I was a little kid, since I was 8 years old. So for me, I can do it standing on my head, but I understand even just that. What I've just Oh yeah, did you start with Western or Mood? All right, okay. So yes, I started with Western tropical astrology. So I started when I was around about 8 years old. That's when I actually began, because mental health issues my mother had and all of this stuff, and it just helped me understand basic psychology. So I started with the Greek mythology, learned all of that. And then I started learning about, you know, Carl Jung and Freud and all of this kind of stuff. But when I realized that the planets were named after the Greek gods and goddesses, and once I understood those stories, then I started to get into the psychology. So for me, psychology, astrology, and astronomy were all happening at the same time. And then later on, I got into Vedic astrology probably about 5 or 6 years ago now, through a series of events. And it was such a steep learning curve. But once I understood it, I was like, oh my goodness, this is profound. So now when I'm reading charts and stuff like that, there are certain things that I can see in a chart which I will know to be a fact in that person's life. But yeah, long journey.
When you deal with it enough, you pretty much recognize it in somebody when you meet them. You know, you pick up on that. Thomas Thomas says, yeah, he trust animals more than people. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I haven't come across a question yet. I'm running up because I asked him the whole questions till we asked for him. See, it looks like Wayne, he's over in he's in Vermont. We had a big storm system that came across the country the last week. I know we got hit with it a couple of nights back. I mean, it was rocking and rolling. And then now it's on the East Coast and working its way up. So there's been a lot of
have you seen the
say again?
Yeah. Have you seen the big floods in Australia? They've just had in fact I need to send a WhatsApp to I'm sure Lena's fine, but in Queensland, where she's originally from, massive floods, and you guys will remember those
who've seen my TV predictions. About it the other night. Yeah. And but I didn't know where in
there's
Australia.
Big issues. Yeah, Queensland and stuff like that. There's going to be big issues with flooding, storms, and water events as well going forward, because planet Neptune, god of the sea, is now in sidereal Pisces. So it means water events, things to do with the sea, flooding, storms, all of that stuff will become more intense. And there was just a huge iceberg as well that broke off in Antarctica. But I was telling people about this stuff from last year, what would be happening this year. So yeah, lots of flooding stuff, unfortunately.
Well, and where I'm at, like I said, I'm literally a couple of miles from one of the largest swamps in the U.S. And if I could go in a straight line, I'm about 30 miles from the Gulf Coast. If I could just go straight south, of course.
Wow.
You can't go that way because of all the canals and stuff. You have to kind of work your way around. But yeah, so anytime we get big storm systems through here, I mean, the ground is already so saturated because we're right at sea level or below. And so you let it rain hard for a day and everybody's flooding out. It just, you kind of get used to it, but just like people out west get used to earthquakes, I can't imagine going through an earthquake. The thought terrifies me, but I grew up around hurricanes and floods. They don't bother me at all. And I know other people get terrified from that. So I think it's just a matter of what you get used to.
True.
But and then what was this? Oh, yes, Shockwave. I'm having a party on Christmas afternoon. Simply titled, "What Did Santa Bring You?" And it's just going to be a free for all. No set plans. I'm just gonna put out a big. Anybody that wants to pop in can pop in and visit. And so just have fun, just something to do on Christmas Day, and because by the time I finish cooking and everybody eats and we take a nap, I'll be bored. I'll be looking for something to do. So, and oh, we got someone from Ecuador. Wow. Happy holidays. My son was.
Well, I'm going to Mexico this Christmas.
Yeah. That's nice. What part of Mexico?
I'm staying with friends. So I'm staying with an old dear friend of mine that I've known for about 22 years now. So I'm staying with her and her family in a place near Tulum. It's near Tulum. So yes, it would be my first Christmas abroad ever. So yeah, good stuff. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, darling, I'm literally in the swamp. Just a hop, skip, and jump away, as they say. Let's see. Someone had put up here it is. Karen Johnson said her birthday was February 19th. So
says,
that would make
right
her
on the cusp
of Aquarius and Pisces.
Was she so? Yeah, anyone that's on the cusp. So she says she's on the cusp of Aquarius and Pisces in Western. When you actually take the 24 degrees off, she is most likely to be an Aquarius. So she's Feb 19th. Yeah. Because remember, the true placements is 24 degrees off. And let me just check. So Feb 19th. Yeah. So Aquarius, according to Vedic astrology, goes from the 13th of February to the 13th of March. Yeah, that's actually where the sun is, or the sun was astronomically when she was born. So you're actually a true Aquarius. And what does Aquarius love? Astrology. Yeah, it's one of the signs of it. It all starts to make sense. Many of my clients, when they come to me, it's like a revelation. It's like they have an earthquake, because I read their life and their family, brothers, sisters, mothers, father, career, the whole shebang, and it just yeah, it makes a big impact on them.
It makes a lot of sense, especially when you take into account the whole family, because then it helps you understand the family dynamics better of what's going on within the family construct.
I read the whole family.
I mean, it's like with me, my son lives with me. My brother and his son live with me. We all share a place together because it's cheaper. We had originally all moved in together to take care of my mother, who passed away in 2019 from dementia. And so we were tag teaming those last 10 years, taking care of her ourselves. And then after she passed, my brother and I were like, we've been together this long. We haven't killed each other yet. So maybe we can stay together a little bit longer. And it makes it a little easier, when you have your family together. Danny had a little quip for you. Wants to know if you like crawdads.
Oh, Danny, Buffalo Bar. Hello. Does he like crawdads? What's a crawdad again?
Crawfish, crawdad. It's like a
all right,
some areas call them mud bugs, but it looks like a shrimp, but it's a different variation.
I do like crawfish actually.
And
I remember when I was in New Orleans once upon a time in 2019, I had some wonderful food and stuff there. And also as well, Shari, just like you saying, you live with your brother and his son, so your nephew and all that stuff all live together. That would show in your chart. So if I wanted to read on your brother, because in Vedic astrology, I'm always saying planets are people. If I wanted to read on your brother, I would look at planet Mars in your chart. Mars deals with real estate. So it deals with land, real estate, yes, war, conflict, all that stuff, but it also deals with surgeons.
Oh, yeah.
But I would have to see where Mars sits in your chart. It would tell me about your brother. Yeah. And where your brother's Venus sits in his chart would tell me about you.
Oh, how interesting.
So that it's basic planets are people. So the sun is the father, moon is the mother. Yeah. Mars is siblings, but brothers in particular. So if I look at Mars in your chart, that will tell me pretty much about your brother. Yeah. So your Mars must be pretty good because you and your brother get along. Do you see? If your Mars is not good, then you work at it. Yeah.
We work at it. Yeah. I mean, there are days where we could probably kill each other, but we work at it. It's just like my son lived with me, when he got out of the Navy, he moved back home. So, and he's the February 3rd. I mean, we're all on thirds or seconds, which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
But, and then yesterday would have been my mother's birthday. So, she was in Western, she was a Sagittarius. And, but that would make her, trying to go backwards here.
She could be, she most likely was a Scorpio, but it depends where she is, where she was born. Yeah, more likely a Scorpio.
Like
yeah, the element tends to run in the family as well. So people in families, just for you guys watching as well, people in families tend to belong to the same element. So of course, when we consider that your rising sign is most likely Pisces, it would make sense that your mother's sun sign would be Scorpio or something similar like that. You will see the same element run in families very often.
Okay, cool. That's good to know. I didn't realize it could connect like that. I'm getting a bunch of people in the chat that are giving me their birthdays and saying, so what would I be?
All right. What I'll do is, because before we read some political bit of tarot here,
I'm like, as I'm backing up, I'm finding one after the other. I think I started something I didn't mean to.
No problem. I will read you the dates, guys. Yeah, I will read you off the dates and then you will know. So this is sun sign only. To know the ascendant and all the other ones, someone needs obviously a consultation, and and then I can look at it in the software, whatever. But this is the sun
a lot of work
sign
to do that, because I know a friend of mine that does charts as well. She did my natal chart, and I mean that's several days' work to put that together.
Well, so, it doesn't take me several days. I mean, we've got software now that does it. I can just look at the chart now.
That does a lot for you, but
exactly. But it's when you're looking at there's a difference between knowing your sun sign and a consultation. But for everyone who's curious, so this is the Vedic sun sign dates I'm going to read. This is where the sun was sidereally, astronomically accurately, where the sun was, which constellation it was in, and it would be the same for NASA, because we follow the same place. So let's start with Aries.
You and me both, Danny.
Huh?
Yeah. Danny said, I wish I could wrap my head around all the nuances of astrology. It's so fascinating. I was like, yeah, you and me both. I've always been fascinated with it, but I don't understand it. So
no problem. I'll quickly read these dates off just for those that are watching and those that watch later. Then they can get a perspective.
You can come back and mark the time. In fact, I'm going to do that right now.
Okay, sure. All right. So for Aries people, according to Vedic astrology, this is actually where the sun was. So from April 13th to May 14th is sun sign Aries. Yeah. Sun sign Taurus is May 15th to June 14th. Do you see? It's much later on. Gemini, sun sign Gemini, June 15th to July 15th. Yeah. If your birth date falls between those dates, your sun sign is Gemini. For Cancer, it's July 16th to August 16th. For Leo, it is, because sometimes they overlaps a little bit, August 16th to September 16th is sidereal Leo, sun sign. Virgo is September 17th to October 16th. Libra is October 17th to November 16th. See, it's much later. Scorpio's sun sign, sidereal, is November 17th to December 16th. Sagittarius is December 17th to January 15th. Sidereal Capricorn is January 16th to February 14th. Sorry, February 14th. What time was that? Sorry?
What sign was that?
Capricorn. So sidereal Capricorn, 16th of Jan to February 14th. I couldn't read my own writing there. or is that, no, I put February 12th. Sorry, it's dark and I've got a scribble there. Anyway, and then Aquarius,
it's late.
Exactly. And Aquarius is Aquarius sun sign, February 13th to March 13th. And finally, Pisces is March 14th to April 12th. Yeah.
Wow.
So
Okay.
anyone who's interested in that, they can just watch that back in the
y'all.
replay.
So everybody, I'm going to try to timestamp that in the chat in the description box after the show, so that for those that want to go back and double, check back on the dates, you can go right to it. Let's see. I did have a question. Well, Foggy made a comment and wanted to know. She says all but 3 planets were lined up in Libra when she was born. Does that have any significance?
It depends what the planets are. Yeah, which planets are there? So basically, in Vedic astrology, any combination of planets is considered a yoga. So 2 or more planets can create a yoga. So it depends what the planets are. So for example, with Foggy, she says all 3 planets were lined up in Libra when I was born. So, but we don't know which one. Was it the sun? Was it the moon? Was it Mars, etc.? And also as well, when you take into consideration that you take 24 degrees off, those 3 planets could actually line up in Virgo. Many people that are interested in spirituality are also Virgo energy, because Virgo deals with what? Health and healing. Okay. And it has a lot to do with Reiki as well. It wouldn't surprise me at all if Foggy had some of those planets in Hasta Nakshatra, which deals with hands. But I've also found it literally deals with crystals and Reiki. How many of you guys watching are interested in what? Crystals, Reiki, healing, all this stuff. Trust me, when you see it from the Vedic, it's like reading a map of someone's life.
Okay. It's so interesting. I mean, I'm sure you get tired of talking about it all the time, but I find it fascinating.
No, I don't. I never get bored of it. It's my passion. I'm warming up.
Okay, good. I'm not boring you then. I did have one major question. I told Thomas I would ask it. He said that he's getting a lot of issues around the elections, Iran and China attacking. And I know another reader who does the Akashic records. She had a vision a couple of weeks back that something major was going to happen Christmas Day in Florida, and that it was going to be like bad. And so, anybody that lives in that area, just be careful. And, if we start praying that away now, it may not ever be an issue. Thank you, baby. My son brought me the gift of life.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. Well, what I would say is because there's so Tarot, you always says big issues for US around the elections. I see Iran and China attacks on voting and see the vote may be stopped and the manual tabulation is full of corruption. Does the US chart say anything? So what I've tried to do is I've wanted to basically give everyone a bit of a rest. Yeah, I've been saying on my channel, listen, guys, have Christmas, eat food, get fat. Yeah, and then we'll start on 2024 next year, because what I can say is that 2024 is going to be a very pivotal and quite extraordinary year. None of us really need to be a psychic to know that. We know we've got the US elections, but there's so much going on. The nodes of the moon have changed according to Vedic astrology. Then Rahu, the north node, is now in Pisces, which is also these flooding events as well. And Ketu is in Virgo, which deals with health and healing and overcoming obstacles. There are going to be lots of revelations around health, healing, new modalities, but also quite a few scandals, shocks and surprises. It's been happening already, but from 2024, I mean, it's really going to become quite evident. Also, as well, you have the 2024 elections coming up, but the eclipse cycle begins, well, the solar eclipse is going to be on the 8th of April. And that's going to be the second one that goes right through Texas. So you may have seen me talk about Shari before, where the last solar eclipse went through Texas that way, and this one goes through Texas the other way. So it's literally the X marks the spot in Texas.
Roughly about
something
an hour
huge.
and a half from the Texas border. Yeah.
Right. Something big is going to happen there. I said, Texas has already been in the news. Look, with that woman, I hope, I don't know if she was able to get her abortion, but you know, Thingy Bob Cox.
I think she managed to get out of the state. That the last I heard, she had left or was in the process of leaving because she had been offered from out of state. Come here, we'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. I worry about her when she goes back. If she goes back.
Yeah.
I worry about her family. Exactly.
Absolutely.
It's like I told somebody years ago when they were going on and on and on about abortion was evil, blah, blah, blah. And I said, look, if you don't like abortion, don't have one. And he's like, well, I can't get pregnant. I said, then you don't have a dog in this fight. Sit down and shut up, And he didn't particularly care for that answer. But,
it's true. It's true. Why do all these men? Why all these guys? Because it's the thing, and this is what I've been saying, like with Pluto. Yeah, Pluto is in sidereal Capricorn, not in Aquarius. And one of the things I've been warning people about for years now, I said you're going to see authoritarianism rise not only in America but in the world. Yeah,
we're seeing it all around.
Not even just in the States. Look at the whole world. Yeah,
everything's happening back barely in Germany. Wasn't it Germany where they just beat it back? Wasn't it Germany where they just beat it back barely from a very fascist person that was running, I guess, for their PM, and the other person won.
Yeah, could well be. I mean, but you see in Holland, they've just voted someone in that was in the far right. You've got Viktor Orban. You've now got Milei down in Argentina, who's basically declared that it's illegal to protest now, and they're going to use the military, against you. You've got Trump fanning the flames of all of this. Italy, for example, they have a far right leader as well, and I think it's only going to be a matter of time before France joins the fray. So what is that the energies of this, Pluto deals with the underbelly, that very often the darkest of what human beings are capable of. But there is beautiful energy to Pluto as well: alchemy, transformation, magic, shamanism. But the shadow has to be faced. Pluto deals with the collective subconscious, the collective unconscious of everyone. This is why you're seeing all of this rise up at the same time. And Pluto entered sidereal Capricorn, which deals with government, institutions, big business, big pharma, all of that stuff, on the 1st of January, 2021. Look what happened 5 days later. We had January the 6th. The insurrection. Look how crazy it's been since then, because that is actually where Pluto's body is. And this is what this sidereal astrology is. We follow the body of the planet, where it physically is in astronomical space. And that's what gives the results. This is why now you see it rising and rising, whereas if it was in Aquarius, all of this stuff would be coming to an end. Pluto would be at the end of the cycle going into a new one, but it's not. It's near the beginning. The Pluto return in the USA chart becomes exact around April, where we have this big eclipse happening in Texas. And guess what? I think around the 20th of April, we're going to have Uranus, Jupiter together with a comet going through as well.
Oh my Lord.
But I don't want to drag. Honestly, 2024 is a ginormous year, and this is where humanity, where we're going to decide, where the world goes. And I hope everyone will step up to the plate and do the right thing. And remember, magic is coming back as well. So there are positives as well.
And
but we
I strongly believe that's why so many light workers have been awakened, woke up, whatever, however you want to say it, these past few years. I strongly believe it's because they're preparing us for what's to come, and hopefully we can keep the worst of it away.
Absolutely. We can do the alchemy. This is the thing.
I know, Thomas, I pulled the Knight of Wands. Let's see if I can get it to show up. I have to do it in front of my face. Okay. Which, with the Knight of Wands, you're talking about very passionate. They're very, a lot of energy going with this, a lot of passion going with this. And so just on this topic alone, and I just pulled one card. That's all I pulled was one. And it was the Knight of Wands. And so it was like, okay, you're looking at somebody that's, they're pushing buttons. And that's what's happening with a lot of people right now, especially with women, is their buttons are getting pushed and they're about ready to push back. And it's not going to be pretty. Not at all. Let me see.
Shall we do one political before the time's up? Can you believe it? It's gone so quick.
I know it's wow, we're already at almost an hour. I did have one person ask if repeating numbers in a birthday had a special meaning, like 4 4 or 5 5 or 6 6 or something. I don't know if that would make a difference.
It depends. I mean, I often get 1111. Yeah. Oh, look. Oh, there's the question there. Do I see anything happening in Canada 2024? But I get 1111 a lot, 22. So if you see master numbers in particular, those are often more pertinent, and it can be very often like the angels kind of confirming that you're on the right path, birth path, and stuff like that. But I would say check out numerology for that, and check out your birth date and your name calculation in numerology, and that's very revealing as well. That's very revealing as well.
Right. It's like my life path is an 8, and then 2024 is going to be an 8. And so I've had several people tell me that's going to have strong significance for me because it's an 8 going into an 8. So, like, okay, that's good to know.
I did.
And then Bevo wanted
I've got
to know
3. My
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Oh,
no, I was just saying that I have a 3 life path. So I get 3 come up a lot actually. Life path, even though my whole name adds up to. So I'm very 3 person. As people who know it, the numerology would be aware of that. Makes sense.
Yeah.
So shall we read on this? Do we see anything major happening in Canada?
In Canada. I haven't really read on Canada.
Let's have a look. Anything major on Canada? I'll pull 5 cards. All right. Major on Canada.
Interesting. Okay. Well, while you're pulling, I'll go. I started out with the Emperor. So we're looking at leadership. There's something surrounding the leadership in Canada. That's what's being drawn into question. A matter of respect for leadership, a matter of how well are they able to stabilize the country, what kind of structure are they working within, and then it was followed up with the 9 of Swords. So there's a lot of stress hanging over their heads there. Finishing up with the 4 of Swords reversed. So, yeah, I mean, right there, you're looking at burnout. I mean, whoever it is that's working on this, they're getting seriously burned out on everything. just trying to deal with all the stuff that's going on, because what happens here starts happening there fairly quickly, from what I understand and from everything I've experienced in my life. So, what did you get, Hogarth?
Well, as everyone who watching my channel knows, I pull 5 cards. So very interesting cards. So you got the Emperor. Look at this. I get the Empress. So what this says to me is, so what's the Empress? The Empress, when it's the right way up, deals with fertility, fecundity, can even deal with pregnancy, creativity, and stuff like this. But really, I'm going to take this as the collective. This is actually talking about Canadian women, I think, as a whole, because this card can literally represent the archetype of woman as a whole. So straight away, 2024, this tells me that things connected, subjects and matters that are specific to women are going to be of great interest as well. Maybe there may be even a debate within Canada about things, abortion and stuff like that, particularly if the government should maybe move further to the right. Who knows? But either way, women's issues and femininity is a big thing. But look, there's a conflict here we've got here the 5 of Wands. So there's going to be political disagreement. I think there's actually a lot of internal conflict going on in Canada that we don't know about, because on my channel, I'm getting a lot of Canadians asking me about what's the future of Canada. This is going on, that's going on. So there's not a consensus there. We from the outside may not be aware of it, but by the questions that I'm getting and the cards that I keep getting for Canada, there's an internal conflict going on that the world at large may not be aware of, but Canadians know about. Yeah. Here, if I look in the middle here, and this is what the cards are all hanging off, the 10 of Swords. So there's a sense of betrayal here. Something, somewhere that people are feeling in some way betrayed or let down, or there's frustration or something like that. And I often get the 10 of Swords for Canada now when I pull for them. So do you see there's an internal dialogue, some kind of struggle that we're not aware of, and some people are feeling for some reason betrayed or stabbed in the back in some kind of way. If we look here though, it looks like the government may try and make amends or try and kind of sweeten this up. Isn't Canada also having elections next year? Aren't they having elections in 2024 as well? Maybe someone can let us know in the comments.
I'm not sure. Kelly, you're in the chat. You're from Canada. You're in Canada. Because I know she said that they have a Trump-leaning individual trying to unseat Trudeau. Yes, she said.
Ah, right, there we are. So look, so this is an element here. So what is, there are some people in Canada, for whatever reason, I don't know what it is, I'm just reading the cards, but this talks about what? Betrayal, being stabbed in the back. So some may be feeling politically stabbed in the back, others might feel for other reasons. Here, this can also talk about women again, but this I interpret as an entrepreneurial card. This could be the potential leader. Now, it doesn't have to be a physical woman, but this could talk about the new energy that might be trying to come in. Either way, this energy is quite enterprising and entrepreneurial and maybe seen as young and fresh. So even though we're talking about Trudeau, I have a feeling this might be Trudeau's challenger. I know he's male, but what it's saying is that he has the energy of the Queen of Wands, which is about bringing disparate groups together. So he might actually have a broader appeal than people may necessarily want. And then the outcome card here is the 9 of Cups, which is the wish fulfillment, the success card. So we'll have to see how it goes, but it might turn out quite well for this person, or it might turn out quite well for Canada overall. We'll have to see. I think the arguments, though, it's all about the arguments and the debate. There's an internal conflict going on within Canada in some shape or form. But if this younger or this other person wins, it will be because some of the voters or the electorate feel betrayed in some kind of way. If he wins, that's how I'm reading that.
And Kelly's saying here in the chat, Kelly was saying that 80% of Canadians live within a 200-mile radius of the U.S. And so our craziness rubs off on them. I'm so sorry. Some of that craziness and leadership is coming from my state, and I really do apologize. So, yeah. Well, that was me. I mean, I had what was it? It was the Nine of Swords. You know, that kind of just hanging over their heads.
Worried.
And
a lot of people are worried.
Yeah. Followed up with the Four of Swords reversed. So, you know, more worry, more challenges. But I agree with Hogarth. I think we're at a point that people have just had enough, and they're tired of the craziness. And I think this next year or two is really going to be a deciding factor into what way countries go.
Yeah.
Because if we go down, you can better well believe it's going to be a ricochet effect all the way around the world.
Yeah. Be a ripple.
Absolutely.
Such important elections, 2024. A lot of the pressure, isn't it, America? But it's a big deal. Like, I mean, last year we said that was the most important election in history. 2024 is just absolutely epic. You know, it will decide a lot of things. So.
Type of, yeah.
Pull out all your there's still alchemy.
Pull out all your woo-woo, all your voodoo, all your candles, your crystals, whatever. We got a lot of work ahead of us. So, but
it can be positive as well.
Yes. Yes. Think on the positive side of it. It's been a little over an hour. We're running on an hour and 7 minutes.
Yeah.
Thank you so very much for coming on. I do hope you'll come back again. Anytime you need an extra body over there, give me a holler.
Yes.
And so hopefully Lady G will be back up and running by this coming weekend.
Yes.
She sounded much better today on her little videos she put up.
So
yeah,
hopefully she'll be back next week.
She's back home.
Indeed. Well, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you very, very much. And thank you, everybody, for coming and joining us for today and for providing such a warm welcome to Hogarth as he visits the swamp for the first time. Maybe in a year or two, we can get him down here for real. I'll take him out to eat some Cajun food. And I've got
I love that stuff. I'm a big foodie fan, and I still remember my trip when I was in New Orleans. And I remember one of the best things I ever ate was this thing called angels on horseback. Have you ever heard of this? It's amazing. No, so imagine it's a big shrimp. Oh, right. Yeah, it's a big shrimp, and it's dipped in batter, and then it's fried, and then it's served with this special super magic gumbo sauce, which was deep fried, wrapped in bacon. I forgot. So a shrimp, battered shrimp, wrapped in bacon, fried, dipped into this special. Oh, I know. I mean, honestly, I think I lost half a day of my life, but it was worth it.
As long as we do. We eat terrible down here.
Exquisite. One of the best things I've eaten.
I got chicken and sausage gumbo on the stove right now. So going into day 3 with it. It's like I made a huge pot the other day. So that way it'll last a while. Usually doesn't last that long in this house, but I'm an okay cook. I just don't like to do it. So, but I'm good at my gumbos and my stews and stuff. Everybody likes that. So really the winter time is the only time I cook. Other than that, it's like, no, it's too hot to go in the kitchen. Go to McDonald's, get a hamburger. Which isn't really food, but it's edible. Not much flavor, but it's edible. Well, Hogarth, thank you again for coming on. I so enjoyed having you with us today. And please come back
My
again.
pleasure.
And I will pass your message on the bell and let him know that that you missed it. And
yes, please do. I just missed the email. It's time he and I collabed anyway. It's been ages, so I'm more than happy to have him on my channel.
I'll see him tonight, and I'll see him again tomorrow night. So I will definitely let him know. And say again.
I said, great. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're more than welcome. All right, y'all. Thank you for coming. Thank you very much for hanging out with us today. If you've not been to Hogarth's channel, please go there now and like, subscribe, and share. After the show, leave a little comment in the comments box. It pushes the algorithm, helps get our channel pushed out a little more. Every little bit helps. So y'all have a happy holiday. Merry Christmas, happy Kwanzaa, happy Hanukkah. I don't know, whatever else I may have missed. Have a good one. Don't let Santa scare you when he sneaks down the fireplace. And we'll see you soon.